Welcome back to the Lost Treasure of Yamashita, episode 6. We are changing it a little bit up. We are down a player. He's actually not going to be able to join us for the rest of the game. After a tragic demise, Ronin will no longer be with us. Sorry, Ronin. The next couple housekeeping, we are going to do a quick change in ruling from last session. Meg was recently hospitalized for the evening, and she is going to actually heal 1 extra hit point because of all the style that were forgotten last turn, so our last game. So that will be updated, so she's now at 4 health thanks to the doctors. Style points. I've awarded Gwen a style point for out of character, trying to keep the team alive. I saw a lot of discussion and ideas in the Discord, so awesome there. And also 1 extra style point for Mr. Roland, because he couldn't not shoot this bad guy we're about to see, much to his own danger. Now for a quick recap. Actually, one last thing. Very important. We will be joined by a new player who will be introduced at, I guess, dramatically opportune time. With a quick recap, the party encountered, they made their way into Breach 6, tripped a kind of spell which revived 5 Japanese soldiers in undeath, resulting in the murder of Ronin and the very dangerously wounded Megumi. The party was able to extricate themselves from Breach 6 and make their way down by jeep into the jungles of Luzon, where it was determined Meg would be taken to a hospital up in Baguio, and Roland would make his way back to camp to where Mr. Blatmore was taken hostage or killed. He would have to find that out. Upon his arrival to the base camp, he found the mercenaries which had attacked and kidnapped Blatmore to be his ex-captain, Greeves, from the... Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting exactly where you were fighting over there. Rhodesia, right?
That's where Roland was pulled out of. I don't know if that's where he was betrayed, but it was one of those proxy wars that the CIA got involved in off the record.
Yeah, and so apparently they had maneuvered different pieces of their chessboard into a position where the captain sent Roland and his team into an unwinnable battle or something to that effect. And here they are face to face once more. Roland, as you level your pistol at him, I will need you to roll initiative, please.
Okay.
Come on, Roland. We believe in you.
That's not great. That is so much less than my average.
I had pre-rolled their initiatives, and it doesn't seem to be working.
Also, it didn't send mine to the trackers. I didn't even see my icon there. So
oh wait, there they are. Now, my pre-rolls did work, actually.
Okay.
Great. What did you roll?
Yeah, I rolled a 2.
Okay, well, that means you go ahead of the mooks. That is
right.
Good.
Because the mooks have no reason to fight until he fires. But
Yeah. Now, Captain Greeves is going to roll his perception check. He sees what you are trying to do as you're lifting your gun. He does not have quick draw. He takes his action drawing his pistol. Roland.
Okay. First of all, as an incidental, I'm spending 2 style points to boost my talent. My new talent that I just bought.
Okay, noted.
And then I believe I'm still charmed from last game, so I get a...
Yes, you're +4 stacks as you feel this ancient Egyptian hoodoo voodoo give you this benefit, supernatural benefit.
Throwing a style point into this as well, so Not gonna die with style points on me.
Hey now.
You didn't die. Came close. You were just merely dead.
Yes,
You
probably.
either gonna win or go out in style.
Okay. So Greeves is going to use his style points into his defense. Because he does have style points.
Of course he does. I would expect nothing less.
Here's his defense. And look at that! He takes 5 damage as your bullet strikes him through the collarbone.
Who's gonna remember that one?
His gun discharges into the air as he like reaches and that is your attack.
And then for my move, I am falling back toward the tree line.
Okay. So you got the road directly to your west. Just north is that fence. It's just like a bamboo thing. It's not like a solid thing, so you can duck under it, jump over it. But it might provide some cover, and just beyond that's the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, so Roland shoots, and then he's already falling back. He is not suicidal. He is just full of anger.
Okay. The mercs, they've already had their M16s like already out and presented, so they kind of move over to try to get a shot. Actually, the second one, he sees his captain get hit. I'm gonna roll a quick willpower for him. And actually, I've got their stats here. Go ahead and roll defense as the first one is going to auto fire, which gives he's gonna mag dump at you basically with his machine gun, and that gives him a +3 to his attack, and he will drain his entire M16.
Throwing my last point into this. Throwing my last point into defense. Oh balls!
So his what
Not dead.
Oh,
Wounded.
that's,
Not actually stunned, and not dead.
Okay.
that is an important roll. 7 dice.
Will. So he, the second guy, even though his boss has been shot, has training. These are ex-military, and he sidesteps as well to get a clear shot. You're out of style points, huh?
Yep, but because of my new talent, I don't have any penalty for multiple attackers.
Okay. I will need you to roll defense again.
Okay.
Okay, that's 2 more.
And Roland is down.
Okay.
No.
The third
Actually,
one,
he's at 0. He's at 0. He can
Yeah.
move, attack, or defend himself.
the third guy is going to run over to his boss at this point. And then it's back to the captain, who he sees you go down and he's been shot in the neck almost. He's going to try to move back towards the
He
jeep.
took 5 damage. Would he be stunned?
Oh,
Or is his
I didn't
stun
roll
that high?
stun. He has 1 hit point left, but is he stunned?
Well,
I didn't roll.
his 5 damage exceeds most people's stun rating.
Yeah, 3. So he is stunned. So it would be back to Roland.
Alright, Roland is gonna do the same thing he did before. Take a shot and keep falling back.
Who are you shooting at?
Actually, he can only move, attack, or defend himself.
Uh-huh.
He's gonna take the damage. He is gonna take the shot and then take the damage to keep falling back.
Okay. And then are you standing up and like running on foot, or you're kind of crawling through the brush?
He's not running. He's kind of backing away, keeping his gun. Well, how he moves is going to depend on whether Greeves is still standing. So
He
let's
is.
resolve that first.
He's like wounded, but he's not dropped down.
Well, again, he's at 0, and so here's his attack.
If Greeves is stunned, is that going to be his passive defense?
Nope, he gets his full defense. He
Okay. Yeah, he goes down.
then Roland, I believe it's a non-lethal to move.
Do you have Die Hard or the talent that lets you stay up at negatives?
No, he's moving, and then he's going to make a roll to see if he remains conscious afterwards.
Okay.
So this would be a -1 modifier because I have the non-lethal. And Roland is now unconscious.
I think we need skills. One
He staggers into the trees and passes out.
I think for willpower, that's a primary attribute. So for that, I don't think the bonus goes.
Yeah.
Though technically, for your Walther, you would have gotten the +4 dice on your shot from the magic from Gwen.
I would have gotten 1 extra success on the attack.
Okay, so yeah. Oops.
But yeah, so Roland shoots, gets one last shot off, and then staggers off into the woods. Eventually, just blacks out from the wounds and is.
Mm-hmm. And with you down, we're going to go back to the hospital in Baguio. I think it's, hold on, it is Baguio, actually. Meg, you are still kind of on the operating table. It's nighttime. Gwen, you've been already kind of patched up by the doctors. They've seen to you. You're deemed fine. And you know that Flisk has driven off. You are now alone, just waiting outside for your friend. Do you want to stay up all night or just kind of try to catch some sleep on the bench, or what do you want to do?
Stay up, try to find a corner away from other people and kind of pull out materials.
Okay.
Just kind of and try to go over it without making it visible. Without visible to like people.
Okay.
Like I don't know, in a book or something to,
Mm-hmm.
like in a magazine or something like that to kind of conceal it.
What you're doing. Yeah. So kind of you spend a lot of time you can dig through that material if you want to roll. Are you looking at the Japanese stuff? The book?
Yeah, the map isn't what particularly interested her, but
Okay.
you can go over the general and.
So I will have you roll your choice of either linguistics or reading a map would kind of just be more survival, I think, if you're trying to like pinpoint and cross-reference stuff. So you can make one check for that through the night.
One survival and one linguistics?
Just one or the other.
See here, linguistics is probably the better one. Linguistics, okay. Oh, that's a.
So it's
That's a.
it's very low.
7 points and only 1 success.
So it's probably the drum of the day, the fact that you've now crashed your airplane, slept in a jungle, gotten in fights with undead, and tried to sleep in a jeep, and now it's like day 3 of like terrible sleep. So it's a little bit harder for you to focus. You probably end up nodding off a little bit, and then morning comes, and Meg, you wake up having been you received like medicine that make you fall asleep during the surgery, but you are bandaged. You feel pretty good considering. And you can see kind of some of the people, the staff walking around. There's a doctor with his cap. He's kind of about to get off his shift, having done a good job. And you see a girl next to him. And Becca, I would like you to describe your character, please.
So I'm sitting next to him at the Baguio.
So Gwen is kind of still sleeping out on like the couch. You just finished kind of assisting Dr. Edwards with this pretty gnarly surgery. This is knife wound deep into Megumi's abdomen.
Well, before going out, I would check to make sure I don't have blood on myself.
Yeah, you
So,
probably got an apron that needs to be washed at this point.
yeah, I would
But-
probably have to take that off, but I have brown hair, somewhat wavy, curly, bangs, pretty, not unremarkably beautiful to where I would be a danger magnet. That would not be good. um, and just average height. I walk straight, like I have a decent posture and mannerisms.
Yeah.
And I probably just finished from surgery, assisting, and I would look around and
Yeah.
look for the family or friends of who was I working on?
This lady, Meg, do you have any description of your character? Since I guess I totally skipped everybody telling Becca what they're playing.
Oh yeah, no problem. Megumi is Japanese American. She's kind of short, but scrappy. That's one thing that perhaps you would notice in surgery is that she's not like super muscular, but she looks wiry, like she's a runner or something like that. And just pretty standard, like long black hair, kind of brownish skin, brown eyes. I get nothing remarkable.
Yeah. Okay.
So Meg,
Um,
you kind of wake up and it's kind of maybe dawn out, and you see this maybe nurse or somebody who's standing over you, still wearing the gloves and kind of her
Is it?
apron, getting ready,
Am I?
her cassock.
Am I? Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. So you
Oh,
like see
okay.
each other.
Can I roll linguistics to see if I know how to say hello in her language?
in Japanese.
Yeah.
You could roll a linguistics check, sure.
Linguistics.
Yeah. But
Uh,
do you know the greeting for Japanese?
konnichiwa?
Meg just looks at you and says, "Hi," in perfectly unaccented English.
Oh, that makes things so much easier. Hello. How are you doing? How many fingers am I holding up?
He just went like this. It's all a blur. I don't know. Two.
I get my light out and I shine it in your eyes. You look like you're okay.
Where am I?
Oh, you're in Baguio at the Red Cross Hospital.
Okay, good. Is
You had
there?
a nasty laceration in your ribs and lower left pelvic. Sorry, waist.
Yeah. Yeah, that explains why. Huh. Is there anybody here waiting for me by chance?
I can go check for you.
Oh, I
Any
mean, if you have time, it's not a big, it's not family or anything. So,
Of course. When one is recovering, familiar faces are always good. I'll go and see to that. Obviously my first priority was you, but I'll go check on them now.
thanks. It might be someone named Gwen.
I'll go and ask for Gwen.
Yep. So you step out into the hallway, and on the bench there's this. Gwen, describe yourself as you've dozed off.
Gwen is British. She's by her looks a socialite kind of socialite who has been through like run through the jungle and dirt and things like that. So but her general look is a little bit classier. She is British. She also has short dark hair.
Yeah.
Are you Gwen perhaps? I'm looking.
Yes.
Hello. Meg has been treated. She seems to be recovering well.
Thank
Do
you.
I know what her hit points are?
Yeah. In game terms,
Yeah.
she's doing well. Surprisingly, like ready to get up and leave if she were to
Yeah.
want to.
She
Perhaps.
seems surprisingly healthy. Be aware of any drowsiness and medical terms, blah blah blah. She was asking for you. I think you might want to go in and check on her. She seemed
She starts gathering up some books and things like that hurriedly, and stuffing them into her probably dusty little bag.
Can I roll perception?
Yeah. And then Dr. Edwards is also like kind of leaving the operating kind of room or the dock. This is not like a hospital. It's like a makeshift used
Do I
as
notice anything?
you rolled a 2. I mean, you can tell she's putting her belongings into it. You don't necessarily see, like, you can probably tell that it's a magazine from like the shelf, but there's stuff inside it, but you don't really get a glimpse at what it is in there. You can tell that there's probably, like, you used to have a map that's folded up of kind of the Philippines and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really see any of the Japanese texts from the journal or anything. So yeah, you as you're kind of getting up and stuff, the doctor comes out and basically relieves you of your shift. Says, "Thank you for your help. I appreciate your time as always. But go, you've been up all night. Go get some sleep." And he kind of taps you on the shoulder and kind of leaves. And then, yeah, Gwen, as you go in, you can see Meg is sitting up now, being treated, or having been treated, looking good as new.
Thank God you're okay.
Well, yeah, hi. I don't know about okay, but I guess I could be dead, so what time is it? How long have we been here?
She looks around for some sort of time.
Yeah, it's like the next morning early. It's probably like 6 in the morning.
Well, the sun's up. I don't. Do I have a wristwatch? Will that let common?
I mean, it's 1970s, so probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She would look down her wristwatch and give the time.
Oh, okay, so it hasn't been like days or something stupid like that.
You know,
Okay.
Fisk is gone. Probably took the Buddha for a small payday and left.
He probably took the Jeep too, right?
Yeah, I heard it leaving in the middle of the night. I wouldn't expect Roland to be back this soon. I mean, he's got too far to travel on foot.
Yeah, wow. Well, let's see. Everything's a little bit hazy. We told him to meet us. What did we tell him?
Told him to meet us here at the I mean, assuming at the hospital. We just said the city, but I imagine this would be the first place you'd look.
Okay. I don't know that I want to stay here, do you?
Might be safer someplace to find a hotel and leave word
Yeah,
here.
right, right.
Haven't called Mr. X yet, and I'm not sure if we should.
You know, I was talking to Roland about Mr. X earlier, and I don't. What have you been at this point? You know, this is not a walk and talk, but it is a get out of bed and get dressed and talk. Um, he says to Gwen, how are you feeling about this mission and what we've gotten into at this point?
Crazy. Treasure hunting apparently is shoots it at low. It seems to be archaeologists are typically much more slow patient and careful with their work. I'm not usually used to running for my life.
Well, I can tell you I have a certain amount of experience when it comes to treasure hunting, as you put it. And even in my experience, this is a lot. Planes don't usually get shot down. I have never been in a position where there seems to be some kind of other rival. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but it's just new to me. And the amount, though, of money that has gone into this whole thing on Mr. X's part just seems super high. Now, I mean, after seeing, I don't, tell me if I just hallucinated this because of blood loss or whatever, but after seeing actual zombies,
No, and that's. I'm guessing that's why. I'm guessing that's the only. I'm hoping that's the only reason Flisk kind of freaked out and ran. It's not the first time I've come across an undead curse, but it's the first time
really,
actually.
seriously.
It's the first time I've actually seen it happen.
Okay, well, I think I owe you an apology.
I
And
kind of owe you guys an apology too. I realized after the fact, if we would have pulled the bodies out of the circle for removing the Buddha, they never would have rose.
I don't really think that you owe anybody an apology for that, given given that I didn't think any of that was real, even in the slightest. So expecting you to have done something about it was not really on my mind. You know what I mean? So yeah, you were trying to tell us about some of this supernatural stuff, and I just completely blew you off, and I was really rude fairly recently. So sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm used to people not believing. It's rare, but it is out there, and most people just chalk it up to ghost stories and fictional curses and things like that because it doesn't because it is it's not common in this sort of thing.
The older people in my family certainly believe in the gods, and if you had asked me, I would have said if there ever were any, they are certainly dead by now, but anyway, I guess it boils down to, do you want to bail or do you want to keep going?
As he pulls out the map and he points to that symbol, if it wasn't for that, I might be on the fence. But points to the Atlantean symbol.
Can I knock on the door and walk in at this point?
Yeah.
Hello, hi.
I was
I'm,
actually about to
right.
ask you to roll a perception check, but yeah, I guess
I'm
you're.
just,
Oh,
I'm just about.
shall I roll a perception?
So did you guys open the door?
Yeah, or I just, it's a hospital or whatever. I
Mhm.
assumed that, it's the whole knock and enter is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the
So-
knock and enter.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
If you were indecent, there would have been a curtain drawn.
Right, yeah.
yeah. So
Actually,
yeah,
in this,
I am gonna have you roll perception then, because there's something
Okay.
specifically of interest to you you might see.
Hello, Meg. I walk in. I brought paperwork. I wasn't sure whether you wanted to stay here longer or be discharged at this point. Against recommendation, I think it would be good. What does my perception
So
look in?
you notice that Gwen has that magazine with stuff in it, and there's a bunch of characters in it which look Asian. With the two, Gwen, are you specifically pointing at the rune?
Yeah, she was specifically pointing at the Atlantean rune.
Then I
Think
think
they were alone.
with a 2, that if you're pointing at it, that was sufficient for you to kind of notice that. But yeah, so you notice that, and then what you were also going to know is from the hospital. This is a makeshift hospital, and it's filled fairly to capacity, so they're probably not really wanting people to stay if they don't need to. Granted, she's been stabbed, so it is probably against recommendation.
It
But
would
if
have been
she's wanting to leave, then it's
it would have been at most an overnight for observation and not allowing other people to be here, type of thing.
And we'll
But
waive any
my-
sense of realism from this scenario.
My
When-
lung is fine.
When I walk in, I start the subject, and I probably cut off mid-sentence right when I asked what my perception shows me. I was like looking at the symbol that she's pointing to, and I just cut off.
Okay. Go, sorry.
And
Doesn't want
I
to close. I thought you did.
sorry, go ahead.
Gwen doesn't want to close it too quickly and look guilty, but she would start folding up the map.
Against recommendation. However, we don't have room for other.
Yeah,
people.
no. So yeah, no. And Meg is just like trying to cover. Yeah, no. Yeah, I am. I was. So it's okay if I leave. Do I need to like, is this all? Is this all gonna be like? Can I walk around?
I wouldn't highly recommend overexerting yourself, but since you have somebody to keep track of your condition, I have a list of things to watch out for. Like I said, we
great.
don't really have a lot of extra room. Do you have a place to stay nearby where?
We were going to find one. We don't really know the city very well, but we'll be fine. It's cool.
I see. I can definitely. Can I recommend a place to stay other than where I live or where I live?
Yeah, you've been in Baguio for a bit, so you know of the set. You also know that there's not like a whole lot of great places to stay, especially two young women probably would not be super advising the motels around here probably.
I wouldn't recommend staying in a motel around here unless you tend to have a guard of some sort. Normally women who come here, women don't normally come here by themselves. But is it just you?
We are waiting on some friends, and Meg is kind of looking at Gwen like.
We had a friend who was going to meet us here and would describe Roland and then give the name Roland Van Owen. He come looking for us.
I see. I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend a hotel. If it's just the two of you, I could probably let you stay at my place for a bit. It's relatively safe.
Well, that's very. You don't have. We can. We're pretty good at taking care of ourselves. I mean, the fact that I got stabbed might make you think otherwise, but
it did cross my mind.
It was an off day, and it could have been worse.
I don't want to know what worse would have been. You probably wouldn't have ended up on my table. You probably would have ended up 2 blocks down.
Well, and I should have, so that's kind of what I mean. That seems like a really big imposition.
Not at all. Most of the time I'm studying anyways. But I mean, you are welcome to try there's several places, but there seems to be a lot of people here that are military types because of well, actually what would be my reason, Adrian?
Yeah, it's
Can I
just
just roll a persuasion? I'll just roll a persuasion.
I don't know if
That
that'd be
makes everything so
really
much easier.
inter-party skills don't really work that way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's just like
Um
third world. You have seen people with like looking military. Like there has been some people who are armed and stuff who go around. Um, it's just not the safest place. Um,
yeah,
but as
I can recommend I can recommend a handful of places, but you're going to find
mm,
um
What's your name? Sorry,
oh,
what's your name?
hello. I'm my name is Samantha. Irene, Evangeline, Felicity, Abigail, Grace, Emily, Tucker. You can just call me Sam.
Good, okay.
It,
Sam, do you mind if I talk to my friend for just a second?
Yes, here's the paperwork. I'll leave it here for you.
Sure, thanks. Thanks.
Thanks.
What do you think?
it would mean with Roland, it would mean some. I mean, the safety is a minor concern, but it would mean having some contact with someone still at the hospital if Roland comes looking.
I feel like, I don't know, I have this weird sense if people are looking for us other than our team, it seems like the hospitals and the hotels would be the first place that they would look. So this might actually be in our favor.
Yeah, we just have to be careful, but yeah, I mean, she would have direct eyes on the hospital for Roland, and no one would expect to look just in the residential
Mm-hmm.
house.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. And honestly, I mean, I feel like I can walk out of here, but I don't feel up to much. I think
Uh,
I think we should do it.
I agree.
Okay.
At least for a little bit, that we don't want to impose too much.
Agreed. Okay. Sam? Samantha?
I wasn't just outside of the room, but I guess I would come back in.
Okay.
I'm eavesdropping on your conversation.
are you
Great,
actually?
okay.
No, I'm not. um, oh, did you get the paperwork filled out?
Yeah, here, thank you. It all makes sense. And we talked about it, and we would be really grateful to take you up on your offer.
Oh,
It won't be very long, we promise. Just until
of
you
course,
know,
until you have your friend.
right.
Yes. I was just finishing up the last of my paperwork with you, so I can show you the way in just a
Okay,
bit
great. Thanks.
and finish up the paperwork and Adrian.
So yeah, you're all able to kind of make your way out of the hospital. Samantha, you've got a like four-door sedan, something just that you can get from place to place. You thought it was worth the investment, so you don't have to walk everywhere in the city. So you can all load in and start the engine and make your way over towards your apartment. Meanwhile, rewinding back about 8 hours or so, maybe 9, to Mr. Van Owen. You awake to the sensation of being dragged through the brush. Um, as you are at still -1, but that was a non-lethal wound, so you are not dying. But you can tell that there's two mercenaries currently, like kind of an arm under each shoulder as they're dragging you out down into the lower area. You can see the base camp just up to your north now, and they seem to be just dragging you. Roll a empathy check, please.
Okay. That's a 0 level skill, so I've got at least some of that.
Okay. They do not seem to really... I mean, they're aware of you, but they do not seem to be carrying you in such a way that maybe they think you're still alive.
Okay.
However, very soon, if you act anything abnormal, of course, then you will have to roll either a stealth or they will become aware of your condition.
I'm perfectly okay with letting them think I'm dead for the moment. I'm not entirely sure I'm not.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you got hit by 2 volleys of fully automatic M16 fire, so you probably have a couple different bullet wounds throughout. Maybe some of them are minor injuries, pass through and throughs. Maybe one that is a little bit more. Yeah.
Sure, if I go look at my chest, I'll see the bloody Big Dipper just bullet wounds.
That was funny. Style point. So yeah, you feel your arms kind of up like this. In a sense, you're a little restrained by that, but they're just like pulling you through. You can see one of the guards isn't even like, or mercenaries. He's got a shovel, but he says M16's over his shoulder, and he's like holding you weakly because he's also doing it one-handed.
Here's a question, and this is definitely what Roland would like. If they're dragging him. They search him. Can he feel any of his weapon? I'm assuming the Walther got dropped when he went unconscious, but is the FAL still strapped on his back? Machete on his belt? The throwing knife in his boot?
They do not look like they took any of your knives. I think it would stand to reason they would probably have not be dragging the rifle with you.
Austin Greeves always wanted a trophy. Right.
You just want to lay low for
He's
this?
he's playing dead and kind of making the mental check of, do I feel weapons? And
Okay.
like, I assume at least the knife in my boot would be there. I don't know, but
Yep,
probably a little surprised if he notices the machete's there.
It doesn't look like they really went to too much effort. Like, this is probably a minute or so after you went down. Like, actually, go ahead and roll a perception check, because they're kind of dragging you out behind where the cabin is.
Also, here's a wild question. If you remember at the end of the last session when Roland pulled out his gun, he had the journal in one hand, and there was a burning stick sandwiched between the pages as sort of a dead man's switch. Whatever happened to that?
Well, you took a shot and started running. Did you drop it, or did you keep it?
I forgot that we had done that until just now.
Well, taking fire.
Like, I'm assuming it was dropped at least when he went unconscious, but
yeah, it's a matter of where is it?
Yeah,
I think maybe that's a question Roland doesn't remember.
that's fine. Something the GM can think about whether that's in the important pages were taken out, and Meg has them in like a belt pouch for a bullet clip. So this
Usually Gwen has them right now.
Me, but
this would be like the non-important pages. It was the decoy, but I remember there was a really like, very rigged version of a dead man switch. Right.
So
here's a perception check for you.
Yeah, so you can, as you get pulled through to this back garden area, it looks a lot of more loose soil here. You can hear there's like movement from inside the cabin still. Again, there's no windows, so sound will carry, and you can hear like the rattle of like a tin can getting knocked down and someone kind of in obvious pain inside. And then you're dropped. They let you go and you're just on your back. And they exchange a few words, and one leans his rifle down and starts beginning to dig a hole. They seem to be talking about whether they're going to need to dig 2 holes or not.
I a slight smile at that. thinking maybe the other host, that bastard Greeves, he might survive the night. But I'm not in any condition to face these two. So they're digging, meaning they're not holding guns at the moment.
No, one has his rifle slung on his back, the other has set it down, leaning against this bale of hay.
Even still, I don't like my odds.
I will also note this is a new scene, so your magic-y bonus is no longer with you.
Oh.
I figured whatever luck I had has been spent by the fact that I'm still among the living. I'm gonna lay there, biding my time. If I can stealthily get my throwing knife out of my boot.
At this point, you can roll a stealth check to do that, and you would have a +2 situational for their distraction.
Okay, so +2, but -1 for my health, so it would come out to a +1.
Good catch on the rules. Thank you for knowing that, because I didn't.
I missed it on my empathy check, and I feel bad.
Okay, well, you're good. You are able to. You've got a machete too, right? And that would be at your belt.
I figured that would be a little more noticeable to draw.
Yeah, so you know that you can reach pretty much any of them, but if you reach your boot, you're gonna have to maneuver your leg a little bit, which you think with the angle they're turned away shoveling, you're probably good to grab it now if you want. But you can can take what you want.
I prefer the machete because it's a better weapon. I just didn't think I could draw something the size of a machete stealthily.
Oh, they're shoveling with their backs to you currently.
Right. So Roland is going to stealthily draw the machete. And I just picture this scene of bloody Roland standing up with a machete in his hand like something out of a horror movie. And just Jasoning one of them.
Okay, you want to make your strike? The one immediately next to you?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one
I'm
that
going to
his...
spend my style point to negate the health penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, I just picture Roland. He's covered in blood, drops a machete. The camera's like viewing them, and you see Roland just stand up behind. And yeah, just takes the machete and Jason's one of them.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack. And would you get any kind of bonus for having stealthed to this attack? Would he be at his...
I don't have the subtle strike talent, so
So it's just flat?
So I would say probably not. Can't attack with my stealth.
Okay.
You might want to have him roll perception to see if he gets his active defense, but I would just say he gets his full defense.
Okay. No,
Oh, poorly on, so there's a chance this will work.
Well, you rolled a 2 on your 3 for perception against stealth, and you rolled a 1 for his defense, so you have a shot.
Not a good one.
Okay.
Not great.
Is this the end of Roland? Yeah, so he is struck in the back of the neck, the collar. Probably lets out a terrified scream, more of surprise and pain. And then the other guy would swing around and try to hit you with a shovel. So roll defense, as I will roll. Just a straight melee. I don't know if a shovel would it be 1L?
A shovel would probably be 1N.
1N, okay. Well, roll defense.
This is the end of Roland, because I'm not taking the damage to get my active defense.
Okay, that's...
Roland is back to being unconscious.
Oh no!
Oh. And then...
I'm probably going to double tap him this time, because when someone Jasons you, that's what you do the second time.
There is a far shot of the Luzon jungle, and you just hear crack, 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 crack.
Oh,
and
man.
I need to know a little bit more about Jordan Locke.
Jordan Locke. Jordan Locke grew up American, Grew up on base in Okinawa. As a vet, he grew up there, so he's kind of raised in that dual culture. American vet, but grew up in Japan, so he studied karate. He speaks fluent Japanese. Father probably pushed him toward being in the military, so he's got a lot of useful skills. In addition to the fact that, I'm assuming he had like his own Mr. Miyagi figure in his life who taught him karate. But Jordan has problems with authority. He's kind of easily bored and annoyed by all of the pomp and circumstance of military life. So he's just kind of been drifting about the Pacific, treasure hunting, adventuring. The one treasure he's found in his journeys is it's around his neck. It's a stone ring. Kind of looks like a miniature yapstone, if you know what those are. Except it's small. You could wear it as a ring. It would be bulky as heck, and it's not made for that. But he has that around his neck, probably tucked in his shirt most of the time.
Okay.
Otherwise, he's just kind of dressed normal. He has a pistol in a shoulder holster, something American, something probably whatever the American military is using at the time for their pistols.
92.
Then he's got not a katana, but a smaller version, like a tanto.
Okay.
That he wears at his belt.
Nice. What if you? I don't know if you've thought this far. We obviously haven't discussed it. What might bring you to the Philippines?
Well, like I said, he's just kind of been jumping around kind of the Pacific, as far as Australia, New Zealand. Never quite made it to American shores, but he's just an adventurer.
Okay.
He's the kind of guy who may be on a treasure hunt of his own, maybe he's just looking for a town to spend some of his reward money on the things that he doesn't get in the field. A night in an actual bed, a hot cooked meal, conversation with people who don't want to kill him.
Somehow you find your way into the kind of wet, rainy. It rained last night, so the streets are all kind of muddy. The small city of Baguio. And
I sent you on Facebook a picture of Jordan Locke.
Oh, perfect, because I do not have that yet, and I was going to make one. Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So
it's not creative.
Nice. So, would there have been any kind of job that you might have done for hire from, I don't know, Meg, how would you describe your previous employer from the last job?
Shady as hell.
Yeah.
Because, definitely, I mean, just this is very meta, but my character is essentially the Japanese American Lara Croft.
Okay, my character is the military brat Nathan Drake. So they probably
You know
did
what?
That's what I was wondering based off
The
of this.
beginning of a beautiful friendship. Okay.
Which is good, because Meg just lost her friend, though she doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, right. But I think, if they have worked together and they both kind of know that they are maybe on the little shady side that she's going to trust. Anyway.
They've been on the same side of a couple of jobs. Maybe they've been on opposite sides at least once, but it's never been personal.
Exactly.
I think quite possibly because of the last job that Meg did bring her to the Philippines. Maybe you were on the same one.
Okay.
with which I need to figure out a little bit more about exactly what that was. So maybe we'll figure that out here in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, just I'll go with whatever. I can improvise.
Same.
So where did I put it? My documents. Okay. Too big.
I hope that Roland took at least two of them out with him, though.
Same.
All right. Let me assign you to Jordan Locke.
So is it Locke with an E?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Can't see Becca's character's name, but I know it's Sam, but I can't see it on the token. If that
How's
matters.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you find yourselves in the back of the car. Samantha, you're probably driving. Again, it's just past dawn. It's probably 6:30, pushing 7 o'clock. The streets are starting to come alive, and you're able to make your way back to your apartment. It is at that point. Let me see. You're just getting. Is there anything you want to do on the car ride, though? If not, then we'll proceed.
Nothing
Just
Yeah.
particular.
What?
Can I kind of stealthily see if Samantha has a modern day map in her glove compartment?
I don't know if that'd be really something you could stealth. I think the driver would notice if you open the glove box, but you could do that.
I'll wait until I can pick one up someplace else with less suspicion.
Okay. Well, then maybe there's a little bit of idle chit chat, but the drive is not that long. You arrive at an apartment building which has just one of those like scissor gates that she unlocks and opens up, and you can go in. Looks to be just like 6 or 8 units, one on each side with a stairway going up in the middle. That's kind of like roundabout. And the inside, it's a small, not a hovel, but it's it looks to be, I don't know, you describe it. What does your apartment look like, Samantha?
I mean, probably not too different from the picture you have. The units are probably stacked. So there's some outdoor stairs on the front that go from unit to unit. And once you go in, there's 2 units on each floor. Mine's probably like second or third floor up. Um, just a simple 1 bedroom, living room, dining, kitchen, bathroom, back porch. Um, Nothing too glamorous, but enough for just staying here for a bit. I once I go up to the second floor, unlock the door and welcome them in. It's tidy. There's a bit of a couch, and I say, "Well, you guys are probably going to make yourselves at home here. I can get some extra bedding for you." And I go into my room and grab extra bedding and pillows from the closet. It's not enough, but I'm sure it'll be, or it's not a lot, but I'm sure it'll be enough until your other friend arrives. And I,
Listen, we're really grateful. This is, like I said, it's above and beyond. So please don't worry about us. We're fine. This is great. This is really great. Thank
Last night we slept out in. If I imagine I still have a tent. In my pack. Yeah, last night I slept in a tent. This is more hospitality than I was expecting.
well, I at least have running water.
I was gonna say both Gwen and Meg can roll perception checks also. Or actually, before you do that,
My
for
bedroom, Adrian, is the answer to your question.
okay, so it probably won't go in there yet. Or are you offering them your
No.
bedroom?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Then never mind. You can keep your perceptions to yourselves.
Well, I did walk in their room. Depending on where they were standing, it would. I
Oh,
mean,
is it something that you'd have framed or just like on your table or?
probably in my room, near my like on a table by my bedside in the room. So
Okay.
Perception is not a skill. That's why I can never.
no,
Yeah,
it's
perception's
up
at the
top
top.
underneath secondary attributes.
Yeah, I figured that out eventually. It's counterintuitive to my brain.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Meg probably like walked with me in the room to get the blankets and such with that perception.
Have X-ray vision.
oh,
Yeah.
Now, that would have been a 6, right?
I actually have a pretty important question for Gwen too. Did you take the satellite phone, or is it still in the Jeep?
I was.
Oh
That's what I was.
no!
I'm kind of thinking about that over the week. On
Oh,
one
no.
hand,
Because
I think on one hand, if he could successful in invading camp, he could use that satellite phone, and it's good for me to have it here. On the other hand, if he needed to make contact with that person, it'd been good to leave with Roland. So I think either Gwen has it or Roland has it.
I thought we had more than one.
I actually never went back to check, so I seem to remember Mr. Blatmore had kind of like a kit, like the whole
Yeah,
station set up, and I thought he had given ones to each of you, but I don't.
that's what I thought too.
But they're all set to like channels, so it would be
We
like
had at least 2 for sure.
Oh, we have at least
Maybe
two.
more.
One of us, I would have one.
okay. So let's
Uh,
just
That's my character sheet again.
make sure. Let's just close this and say that you had two. So Gwen, I think Gwen and Roland had one, or there was one in the Jeep and Gwen had one, something like that. And if Roland took one, so you can still communicate with them, the other one, is that on Gwen, or did you leave it in Flisk's Jeep?
I think she would have kept it with her
Okay.
in the Jeep.
Okay. Well, nothing happens, so you're good. As you are making yourselves at home here, kind of if this was a movie, the camera would kind of zoom out the window as, I don't know, Samantha's making tea or cereal or breakfast or some sort of thing for her new guests, and then it kind of shifts around and you just see this landscape. Dinner at 7 o'clock in the morning, but you see the
Oh.
city, and it kind of like moves down into the streets, starting to wake it up, and it goes into this little hole in the wall radio shop. There's like wires and speakers and all kinds of just electronics. And Mr. Jordan Locke, you tell me, why would you kind of come into this shop, or are you just kind of nearby? Your choice.
Probably ducked in. One thing that I admit is that there was a Space Invaders machine on the base when I was growing up. I kind of loved it, and as I said, I'm in town, just enjoying all the things I don't get out in the field after my last job, and in an electronics store, and hoping against hope that they've got one.
Okay. And now this is also pretty early. Are you up late or up early?
Probably up early.
Okay. So, as you're kind of
wait, he's up late. He's up late. He's definitely
okay. Yeah, you're kind of looking around and stuff when all of a sudden the door pushes open, and you can see kind of tired, kind of bags under his eyes, kind of older, not old, but kind of an older, maybe not quite 50 years old man with kind of balding hair and a beard stumbles in and immediately starts looking around. He does not look to be washed any time recently. Probably could use a bath or a shower and stuff, but he's very clearly looking around for something and trying to find things on the shelves. Does not look to be happy with what he's finding, or lack of what he's finding.
all right.
Yeah, he kind of like pushes past you and says, "Get out of the way. Just as he tries to like look the shelves around you. Eventually, he goes up to the shopkeeper and just like, I need you to get me a satellite phone. Go on, I've looked everywhere. You gotta have one here. Tell me, where can I find one? And the guy's trying to speak English back to him, but there's a language barrier. Flisk gets agitated.
Kind of watching him. Like, all right, it's a little odd to see a random American walking into a place like this. Wanting to buy a satellite phone is also kind of weird. Right now, Jordan is the greater and lesser angels of his nature are kind of at war because part of him is thinking like, what's this guy's story? And he seems like kind of a jerk. Should I steal his wallet?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll perception. You can see as you're eyeballing kind of where he might keep his wallet, there seems to be some sort of an agreement between him and the shopkeep, who's still kind of like a little confused by the request, but he's getting out this old archaic satellite phone type setup. It looks to be like maybe it's working, maybe it's not. But Flisk forks over some money to him, and in doing so, you can see that he is armed. He's got a sidearm under his jacket. But he forks over some money, complaining all the way, and then begins to turn around holding it. Before he leaves, he starts trying to see if it will work and turn on.
I'm just kind of like this whole thing is fascinating. Like this is not something I even Jordan sees every day.
Okay.
He's intrigued. He might try to tail this guy actually when he leaves.
Okay.
Generally, disheveled armed men buying satellite phones are usually the precursors to adventure.
He seems to notice you still like in the store. He's like, "What are you looking at, kid? Haven't you ever seen one of these before?" And just exits the shop, like trying to still get it to work. He climbs into an open air Jeep. Still, he doesn't turn it on yet. He's still trying to work the satellite phone. But yeah,
Jordan is going to walk up to the Jeep,
mm-hmm.
hop into the passenger seat. It's like, look, friend, I don't know what's going on here. It sounds like your story is way more exciting than anything I've seen in the past couple days. You could probably use some help, and if you could buy a satellite phone without haggling, you can probably afford it.
He squints at you. I will need you to roll a diplomacy check.
Huh. Fun. That's something I don't have. I have deception.
Come on, you got this.
Let's see.
Hey, I guess I'm.
Does Jordan start with 3 new style points?
Does Jordan start with them? That's actually not a bad idea. He is a brand new character.
I don't know. I've never had that happen. Usually players die at the end of sessions and it's a moot point.
We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna give you 3. I've already awarded you 1 because you made me laugh or something. So yeah, Jordan can have 3 style points as a new character, which means
Okay.
Adam has probably gotten the most style points in the game. Actually, no, I think I've awarded 4 before.
Right. Modifier prompt is checked. This is a. I'm gonna spend 2 to negate the untrained skill modifier. Still doesn't give me great odds, but.
Okay.
The GM knows what Flisk is. Well, the player knows what Flisk is like, so I'm not spending too many style points to get in his good graces.
Okay.
Oof, Jordan has offended him.
Yeah. Flisk looks at you having climbed into his jeep. It's the team jeep. And he pulls out his pistol and points it at you. He's like, "Mind your own business. Get out of the car."
Okay, all right. Calm down. No need to. It's your loss, friend. I'm just.
Yeah, I don't need any help. Get lost.
Gordon gets out of the car and kind of takes a mental picture of the Jeep, the license plate if they have them in 1970s Philippines.
He like tries to
Well,
start
if
the
this guy
jeep.
doesn't want my help, the people who are clearly going to be looking for him certainly would.
Yeah, there you go. He starts the car and tries to get away from you. He does not want to be around you. Yeah, just kind of takes off. The streets are again starting to get crowded with people, so he doesn't just take off and go. If you wanted to try to follow, you could, but you are on foot, so that would be a little challenging. Do you wish to try to follow him, or just make the notes?
I'm just going to kind of make the mental note, and then here's a question, and I will abide by the GM's decision. Roland died with 2 experience points. I used them to buy level 1 of Streetwise for Jordan. I'm just realizing that's the skill that I forgot to purchase for him that he would definitely have.
I will let you rearrange what you have because I already gave you
Okay.
additional starting experience, so that would be no, unfortunately.
I will do that.
Back in Samantha's apartment, as you're all probably, I don't know if you want to get more rest or what you would like to do. It sounds like you're kind of in a waiting game.
I want to know what I noticed.
You rolled a
4
4.
perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Samantha went into her bedroom and stuff, we talked about this. So I'll let you tell Becca. What does she see?
You probably see a notebook with an old black and white photo of what you probably at first thought was an Egyptian pyramid, but if you rolled a 4, you probably noticed that it's not quite Egyptian, but it's definitely a pyramid
Yep,
of some sort that you've never seen in Brazil or Egypt. It's definitely different.
In the photo from kind of your sidelong glance, you get a good look at it because she leaves the door open while she's getting some of the extra bedding. You can't tell prospectively how large it is, but you can tell that there are different carvings in it, some with moss covering over it, so it's surrounded by jungle foliage. Definitely looks like Luzon from having just come from over there. But it is some sort of pyramidical structure made out of stone or rock. And she's got a picture of it in like this old, probably 8.5 by 11 vintage film that's been developed.
Okay. I don't say anything to her about it. I just get the bedding and, come back into the other room. And I think I would wait until it was safe to say something really quietly to Gwen. And I would say, so, how many cultures have, this is a weird question, but how many ancient cultures had pyramids?
Oh, that's a good question, but a great deal of them. That's one of the interesting things that connect. That's one of the why did so many of them have it? I mean, there's the Mayans, the Egyptians, and across the Great Ocean. I mean, some skeptics will tell you that it's the most simplest geometric shape, but what if there was some unifying culture that, especially in the Atlantic, that connected these cultures that they all developed pyramid shapes?
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty Anyway, easy. Anyway, yeah, I'm not an archaeologist, so obviously, I know what Egyptian ones look like, and I know what Mayan ones look like. Are there any that you know of, like in this area? Was there a culture that?
Um, that is not something Eric has a knowledge of. Do I, Adrian? I don't
Um,
know anything in the far east. The pyramid.
well,
Roll
there,
for it.
yeah, there definitely shouldn't be any like Egyptian influence. You're in
Yeah,
the, this is what, the South Pacific?
right.
I don't think you would know of any influence. Actually,
But
Meg,
like, what I meant is there like a culture in this region that would have
oh,
had? Yeah,
you can roll an academics. Both of you can actually, because I think you both have academics, if I remember correctly.
and mine is kind of
Well,
roughly this area.
yeah,
So.
yours is specific to Japanese, and Gwen's is specific to, I think it was Egyptian, right?
Um, it was history, I think, was the
Oh,
specialization that I.
history. I'll put that in for
It's
you
not
real
a
quick.
bad roll, but these two successes.
Yeah, so for you know that there really shouldn't be anything that does pyramids. That there's nothing that you can think of from here. With Gwen's specialization in Japanese history, there's something that you might know. But for Gwen's specialization in your area, you would be able to know that there's no cultures that built or used pyramids in any kind of like rituals or sense like that. Meg, you can think of something that maybe pyramid might be an indication of some sort of marker, not so much like a burial tomb like Egypt or something. But in Japanese, the sign of a pyramid can be an indication of something hidden. That could be something like a marker that it could be. But the picture that you saw did not have Japanese carvings on it.
Right. So, okay.
So there's maybe
What was, quick question, when I walked in and I rolled the perception when Gwen was pointing at the map, what was Gwen pointing to on the map?
there was a rune which it was Atlantean. I don't think you know Atlantean. That's not what you chose for your linguistic.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't necessarily recognize it, but it was some sort of rune inside of the journal, which is all Japanese except for this one kind of like drawing of something, but you don't know
On the
what it
map, but
was. It on the map? I thought it was in the journal. Or were you looking at the map?
I thought you said it was on the map too. But
Oh,
you
you're
know.
right. That was, yeah. Well, the map that's a flag. I'm thinking like because you have a
Mm,
map of the jungle, but you took a flag, a Japanese flag from the bunker, and that did have that waterfall where you.
okay.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I was
Okay.
confused by the word map, but yeah, so you would have seen that. It's an old Japanese flag, and there's like characters and writing all over it, and one of them, Gwen was pointing at, but it didn't look Japanese.
Okay. Well, I will just file away what I saw for now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's certainly interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Okay. So for the rest of the day, how long do you want to wait for Roland?
I just finished my shift, so I'm going to take a nice 8-hour nap. Mikasa Esukasa.
Okay. So
Thank you.
Samantha goes to sleep. So
I think I would take a short nap, but having time she was asleep would be, and we could talk privately would be very valuable. So
yeah.
I would probably just like take a short cat nap or try to rest, and then wait for her to get into deeper REM sleep.
Okay. So you can all have any kind of private discussions that you wish. For Mr. Locke, out on the streets, Flisk has left. You're between jobs at the point, so you're just meandering around, kind of trying to keep
Like
an
I
eye.
said, I'm gonna go to that bar. That bar that's in every city and every pulp story, where guys like that, there's someone there talking about how they want to find guys like that is offering a reward. I'm gonna find that bar, and I probably have been to that bar.
Mhm.
I probably have a, you know,
A
oh,
tab at that bar.
like, yeah, like I've probably been run out of that bar. I've probably had to leave that bar through the kitchen at some point in my career. I'm gonna go to that bar.
Okay.
I'm gonna just kind of offer up a description of this guy and any any info on this guy. He's clearly up to something, and
Okay.
if anyone is wanting more information, I'd be happy to enlighten them.
That sounds a lot like a streetwise check to me. Did you end up modding your skill
I
set?
did. I moved some stuff around because that is the skill he would 100% have.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. And now watch I derp this roll. Because dice only like me when I'm the GM.
So, inside, you can hear, or you can see there's some people here. It's still really early, which it probably means the people that are here for business rather than for the drinks, because it is that place. But there is two men over at one of the tables. One of them's wearing a suit and sunglasses inside with like cropped short hair, and the other is in like t-shirt and shorts. It's not hard to tell that they both are armed, but they seem to be talking, and the guy in the shorts is talking about a certain contact who they're reporting that they've just checked in, and then the guy in the suit says, "And what about actually? And what about Mr. Flisk? Did they find him?" The guy shakes his head. "Greaves is dead?" The guy nods. "Damn." The
Nice.
guy with the sunglasses pulls them off and starts to clean them. Well, go on.
At this
Find
point, at this point, Locke is going to go over to the, and he's listening in, and he's going to start asking if, not the people at the table, but he's kind of keeping an eye on them, and he's like I said, anyone doing what that guy's doing has people looking for him. If they're dropping the name Mr. Flisk, it's a fair bet.
Yeah, no description, but it seems like they are looking for him.
I slide into the booth. Gentlemen, I couldn't help it over here. You're looking for Mr. Flisk, was it?
The two of them look over, and then the guy in the suit. "Yeah, that's right. You know where he is?"
Well, tell me, is he American, balding, possibly driving a military jeep that looks like it's seen better days?
They look very interested. Let us get you a beer."
And he kind of smiles. And he's like, okay, that answers my question. The real question is what's this individual mixed up in, and how much is information worth to you?
They both look at each other a little bit and smile. I think that is probably a good spot to pause, even though it's a little bit early. I need to do a little bit of GM finagling for the next session.
I'm sorry, I keep breaking Adrian's game.
It's all good. We do have a little bit of time left if you want to jump back to the other scene. If you guys want to discuss anything together or with Sam and kind of wrap up
Yeah.
some of this stuff, we
Yeah.
can. But I think it's a classic for Jordan to be at the table with these men in the seedy casino bar. And
For
that
sure.
will fade out.
Like, this is the kind of bar where someone's stabbing a knife around someone's fingers in the back.
I want to pull out the flag now that Sam is asleep, and we can have a little bit of private discussion.
Okay.
So, I kind of want to go back out there, Gwen. There's something real big here. I don't know. This just seems it was odd even before the zombies. But I don't know, I feel like we might need some backup.
That Buddha shows that there is treasure out there, or at least there was treasure. And even if there we just haven't found it yet, and even if there isn't treasure, this symbol, as I mentioned briefly in the bunker, this symbol is in virtually a dead language. Either someone 30 years ago spoke this language and wrote it down, seems unlikely, or they saw this symbol and they copied it, which means it at this location. It's something could be very interesting.
So this symbol is like a marker, and it was triangular, wasn't it?
It looked like a pyramid.
So listen, now that she's asleep, I gotta tell you, this nurse or whatever, she might have some interests that are adjacent to ours. There might be kind of a Venn diagram happening. I wasn't necessarily trying to. Okay, yes, I was. When I was with her getting stuff out of her room, she had an old picture, and I'll go ahead and describe it. And the carvings on it, they're nothing that I recognized.
Probably very similar to a symbol that you pointed to earlier.
Yeah.
Does that click with her?
What?
Does that click with Gwen?
Well, the one on the flag that you pointed, that's the Atlantean rune for waterfall.
Yeah.
So if it looks something like that, that probably would be like.
But does her describing the pyramid in the photo click? Then. Yeah.
There's a very good chance that could have something to do with like being Atlantean made. Like you'd have to see it, but Atlanteans did do stuff with pyramids.
Yeah. Sneaking into her bedroom now would probably not go over well, but maybe you can find an excuse to get a look at that later. But that definitely seems interesting, and I would like to try to find a modern day map, because this symbol directly translates to waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe, I don't know if it's saying there is a waterfall here, or if it's pointing us towards a waterfall.
Right. Puzzles! Yes, I love me some puzzles, as well as treasure hunting. We could just ask her if she's got a map, because like we're girls alone and we don't know where we are. All that. It wouldn't be unusual to ask for it, or else we could just go get one.
Yeah, Maybe could certainly maybe try to find one on the street too. If we could maybe go out tonight.
Mhm. I mean, you're supposed to not sit around too much after. I don't know.
Would be a good question for Samantha. I only know I watched some of the doctors perform some first aid, but I never really studied it all that much myself.
Well, this is not the worst wound I've gotten. It's just really awkward. I think we could ask her. We could just ask her. That we. What's a good cover? Okay, we just want a map because we're not familiar with this city and the surrounding areas. How's that? Let's keep it simple.
We want to kind of explore the Philippines or in the city while we're waiting for our friend.
Sure.
Does me waking up make things easier?
Or harder.
Even in the distance, he should have at least made it back to the base camp by now. But I mean, it could be day or two hike through the woods.
I mean, it depends on how if he's okay. It depends on if he got a vehicle. I don't know. I think we should give him
a week or
no. Like 2 days, maybe 3, depending on how we're feeling.
All right, we'll go 3 days. Because I think traveling through the jungle could take some time. But
okay, well, we can revisit it. We can revisit it.
It's for 3 days, but yeah, we're gonna need someone else who knows the area.
Yeah, wouldn't hurt. I might be able to get us some backup. Maybe. Not promising anything, but maybe.
How about we take it? She's sleeping now. Why don't we get some rest as well, and maybe this evening we can all have a girls' night out at a bar or something. Safety in numbers. Try to.
Yes, a post-surgery night at the bar. I mean,
under medical supervision.
Yes, no, I mean,
right. I mean, yeah, sure. Just to maybe get out. Sure. Yeah. Let's suggest it.
Since you just got out of surgery, you can take the couch. I'll just put a pillow on the floor.
Well, thanks. Normally, I would maybe argue, but thanks.
Can I, since we're ending session now, any chance I can investigate some of that paperwork and try to learn some more about it?
Okay, which one?
The flag and the paperwork.
Yes.
She never really got a good chance to sit down and really look at it because we were in the bunker and then she was falling asleep. And
yes.
I think you would try to have Meg draw the symbols she saw in the photo as well. That's just what I would do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, we could take a little time because, I can translate some things for you.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of go over what information we do have. Kind of. And I kind of want to make one more roll since we're kind of ending session and I have five style points.
Sure. Use them or lose them. So yeah, if you're wanting to roll for the flag, are you wanting to do that with the linguistics for the Japanese stuff on it, or specifically for the rune and or a survival? What are you trying to find out?
Yes, I was thinking we want to just invest all the journal and the flag and all that stuff in front of her, kind of how forensic scientists put it on a board and just
strings.
Samantha wakes up and it's all
Well, that makes it easier for me to figure out what you guys are trying to do.
Spread out everywhere, but kind of spread out a little bit and try to just take in what we know and I was thinking investigation check, but I mean, if linguistics works
Um,
better.
Investigate. I think no, that actually because you have a lot of resources that you're trying to do. So yeah, you can roll an investigation check.
Can I do that as well?
Yes, or one of you could roll with an assist though if you're both trying to burn your style points.
I want to burn all 5 of mine since I'm gonna use them up.
Use your art skill to redraw the symbols you saw. Meg.
My wonderful arts.
You already rolled a linguistics check for the book last one, right?
Yes.
What Meg? What are you trying to discover?
You know what? Now that we've been talking about the strings and whatever, that sounds crazy, but I was just thinking about trying to put pieces together. Like,
Okay.
were they using the flag to sketch out a map? Is one thing that I was wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if it lines up with a physical map.
So you go ahead and
Yeah.
roll investigation as well.
And then, just maybe another little extra check of just whatever's happening with the language and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 style points into that.
Okay.
Because I am on painkillers, and obviously that will help, right?
I think Gwen's at her best when she can sit down and just study the information and not being rushed by zombies or things crashing and exploding. And
I don't know. Zombies really help me concentrate.
I'll give you a style point for that, but we're about to be done. You're gonna make another check, so I will give you a style point because that was funny. Okay, so for Gwen, as you kind of like use the floor, or probably not want to tack everything to the walls, but maybe like the floor is your podium, and then you begin to just set down the journal, the flag. You have the crude maps from the base camp that you took from Flisk and Blatmore, so you know kind of that Luzon area. Where it has Breach 6, Breach 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 all kind of marched to these dig sites that they were trying to find the Japanese war in. And so now you know Breach 6 is up there. You know kind of the different region is within like a couple mile radius of each other where they've been trying. So they know the central mountain is where the Japanese had set up their underground tunnel system. Then you found the bunker with the zombies. You found the tunnel that went south, which I don't think you've really talked about, unless you have at this point, because you've had so much downtime. If you want to say that you've like told everything about that, you can.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just kind of just comparing notes and just.
So you know that that southern passageway extends for longer and meets up to either a dead end or as like a man-made brick wall. So it could be opened or exploded or just whatever. But that is kind of a question mark. Where does that lead? And as you move over to the journal, which has been mostly Actually, no, the journal's gone. You only have a couple pages from it. Roland has the journal for the most part. But the information you gathered from it was there was an officer, maybe the zombie one that you killed, probably not, is probably a different one, who was in charge of building the tunnel systems, and that they had forced a lot of the locals into physical labor, some of which you had seen and incinerated the bodies afterwards of the zombies. But they drafted a lot of locals to help build these tunnels, and a lot of them were never to be like released or seen again. But the officer had one friend who he had made, because for either they shared the language one way or another, and he wound up sending that guy home when Yamashita came to town, basically the general. So there's this one survivor, a local guy from the Philippines. His been called grandfather, grandpa is what they refer to him as in Blatmore's notes. However, in the journal, it refers to him by name. And he's most likely in Manila, ? This is in Blatmore's notes. Then there's all the stuff that you don't have notes for, but what you've now experienced. You've got Flisk and Blatmore are the surviving members of a 6-person crew sent by Mr. X. 4 were killed. Meg, I believe you suspect Flisk killed those 4, maybe? Or question mark? Not.
Very, very, very suspicious of
Yeah.
Flisk.
That's right. I wouldn't have known. I didn't know. That was a private conversation that Gwen is probably just now finding out about.
Yeah.
So that is question mark. Flisk did not do that. That's not certain. But you did find those 45 caliber pistol casings by where the graves were, and Flisk was the only one who had a 45 that you've seen.
Yep.
So there's that question mark. There's the question mark of why is Mr. X funding this expedition, which is lots. Various details about that and what's the bottom line for that. The treasure itself is supposed to be amassed from all of the different spoils of war that Japan has either conquered recently or even some from just in the past that they've acquired from other things. So there's a vast amount of treasure that's supposed to be out here. And then the fact that they used dark magic spells to try to guard it. There's some voodoo stuff going on too. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you've kind of discovered at this point.
I think that's it.
So
There's something I was thinking about just throughout the week. But so there was a cave-in explosion that collapsed the tunnel at point, let's call it point A. And then the tunnel runs up to the north until we dug into it. It just runs up to a dead end in a bunker where they locked the door and kept all the other people out, trying to keep their food, apparently trying to keep their food supply safe. Just the 5 of them. And then when the food supply ran out, they set up this protection thing over the idol. It's like, why would they? I mean, what reason would they? I mean, if they set off the explosion themselves, they were knowingly blocking themselves into a dead end.
Yep. And actually, you had found orders basically to be there until the end to guard the treasure was the orders. That wasn't written on the flag, but it was by the typewriter. You found orders from their commanding officer, probably General Yamashita, who ordered them to be the last people to guard the treasure in the bunker.
Did they think they would eventually get rescued, or is this? I mean, if they willingly block themselves in this, something has to be very high importance. And is it this map and this information we found, or is the Buddha important? I mean, from the top, the Buddha just looked ordinary. Maybe they just needed gold, but they used that in the ritual.
I mean, it could be a little from column A, a little from column B. I'm wondering, I mean, I'm a novice about this, but could it be that the spell protected the entire system? They were trying to protect the entire system, not just that of tunnels, not just that room.
It was kind of limited to the circle, from my understanding. But I mean, it may have required something of more gold value that they couldn't use a piece of paper for it. But
Gwen, go ahead and roll a magic check. You thinking about it, knowing kind of what you do about Egyptian magic, dark black magic that the Egyptian pharaohs and stuff used. The gold statue represented a significant representation of money or wealth, what it was that was supposed to be if someone takes the treasure and that idol representing the valuable. So it could have been a gold bar, it could have been something else. It wasn't.
So that was a symbol of the whole of the greater whole.
So that was probably the smallest yet most valuable gold artifact that they had available that they were willing to not bring with the rest of the treasure for that specific spell.
So there's probably nothing special about the Buddha other than just it's made of gold.
Yeah,
I never saw the bottom of it.
Yeah, you're thinking it could have been some
While we
other
are
thing.
while we are having this discussion, I think I would go to the table if she has like a kitchen table or something like that and get a piece of paper and in fact try to sketch what I saw in that photograph. So I'm sitting at the table away from the other stuff with a piece of paper in front of me, and I'm going to pump the rest of my style points into it because why not?
So quick
Whoops.
question. So
Yep.
you're going to draw the picture that is in Samantha's bedroom.
Correct.
Okay. I'm tempted to give you a style point for being very respectful of her space, but no, that one. Go ahead. If you spend.
While I am, at the same time trying to
Mhm.
figure out behind her back what's going on.
Okay.
I'm not an artist.
Yeah. Gwen, seeing though kind of a depiction of it, if you're trying to draw some of the like hieroglyphics that are on it, these runes, Gwen can tell that they look Atlantean.
Can it read it, or is it like trying to read? Like, is it blurry enough they can't read?
It's a not great sketch of. It's like if someone tried to
I
draw
saw it across the
hieroglyphs.
room. Yeah, I saw it across the room and saw some shapes.
Yeah, it's like.
That kind of looks like a bird, and that kind of looks like a boat.
Yeah, you figure it'd be
was
nice
some
to see the source
lines.
material.
It's
Yes.
probably like stick figure hieroglyphs.
Yes. Right?
Yeah. So.
Like, she would tell us, like, that definitely looks Atlantean, but I'll need there's nuances in
It
the
says
details.
the Great King or I like bread. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, with that, do you want to kind of wait until your host awakens?
Yeah, sneaking into her bedroom while she's sleeping, which seems creepy.
You guys are the most respectful pulp adventure players I know.
I must say I am a little surprised and this is very unexpected. But that's no problem. We will begin next week, probably with Jordan Locke because you've been out of the scene for so long. So we will begin next week with that, and then we shall see what happens next.
Yeah, hopefully, they decide to go to the bar while Jordan is still there. And actually, if you wanted to have them walk in just as he's sitting down with the
Oh, because it could be later on in the morning when you ran into Flisk.
we don't know what the timelines are. They could walk in just as Jordan is sitting down with the feds and.
It was a bit of metagaming. It's like, let's go to the bar, have a ladies' night. It was a little bit of.
Yeah.
Well, because it's dangerous here for women on their own. Let's go to a bar.
How about we go during the day instead? Like.
I think Meg did allude to wanting to find some help, and I'm assuming she's implying trying to.
Yeah.
I'm
wondering if you're still around. Yep.
Yeah, she would know the kinds of places that he would be checking in at if he were in town.
Yeah. Well, we shall see the party reunited next time.
One way or another.
I love this, that he's like the opposite of Roland. He's just a complete scoundrel. But like the Han Solo kind of scoundrel, where he's likable.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you all for playing. Let's do experience really quick. Participation, role-playing, definitely. Danger point, Roland met his demise. You can all have the danger point.
Roland.
I'd say wisdom point, because he did the whole, like, map thing. That was, I found that to be quite fun. So we'll say 4 experience, unless you can argue for a success point in some way.
I think Roland earned a success point. He took out his enemy.
You're not wrong.
He achieved his backstory goal.
It's true.
Okay. All right. 5 experience. Full house.
Nice.
And everybody can spend them or save them if you wish. Another night's rest will bring everybody back to full health, we'll say. So,
Yes.
for the next
Then I'll sneak into
chapter.
your room.
Feeling.
I'll be awake.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for playing, and we will see you next week.